Good evening and welcome back to an edition of Mi Gente on Air. It's been a while. It's been about 3 weeks. And I'm sorry and I apologize, but we had vacations and we had other events going on. And we just felt that it would be best if we waited until this week to actually do another live stream show. So come on into the room. There's a lot going on. And we've got some great guests from Labadee, Buick GMC in Bay City, and we're going to talk with Elvis Mackel and Chad Forster from Labadee so that we can find out a little bit about what they have to offer this holiday season. So come on in the room. If you've got questions or you want to make a comment, please do so because this is Mi Gente on Air. It's a community show for you.
Welcome to Mi Gente on Air on 100.5 and 790 News Radio WSGW and online WSGW.com. Now, here is your host, Larry Rodarte.
Good evening and welcome back to Mi Gente on Air. It's been a few weeks since I've been here in the studio due to vacations and other obligations, but I'm here today with a heavy heart. And before I go on, I have to mention that I lost a young cousin today in an automobile accident. And from that outpouring of grief, it really shows the magnitude of people that Stevie Medell had on those around him. He wore his love on his sleeve for his family and especially his sons and siblings with pics on social media. And if you saw him in person, he always told you he loved you. And he always wanted to help in causes or to help make Saginaw a better place. He was only 33 years old. Chuck, as we called him, brought hundreds to march down the Cinco de Mayo parade routes with his Medell kennels and bully walk. He loved raising bulldogs and bringing respect to the breed. Winter accidents happened, and the Saginaw community lost a young man. 2 boys lost their father. His parents lost their son, and he has hundreds of cousins locally who will miss him. I will miss your text, Chuck. Rest in peace, Primo. And on today's show, I have Elvis Mackel from Labadee Buick GMC in Bay City, as well as Chad Forster, who is the new and used car manager, joining us for our show today. Elvis is a visible presence throughout the community as of late with the business community as a community engagement manager, but he's also works at other dealerships in the area where we're going to dive into that as well. And he's giving back in a big way with Christmas with Angels. So please help me welcome Elvis Mackel to Mi Gente on Air and Chad Forster. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you for having us.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, gentlemen, for being with me here today. Help me get through this show. I know it's like I said, I'm here with a heavy heart, but we're gonna do the best we can, and we're gonna talk a little bit about what Labadee has to offer today. So, Elvis, can you just please tell us a little bit about your background and your trajectory in your career?
Well, let me try and be short with that. My name is Elvis Mackel. I come from a long family of hardworking. My grandfather was Victor Guerra and Irene Guerra that owned the Guerra Grocery Market on 10th and Washington for 45 years, right across the street from the Gray Iron Plant, which many known us for our chicharrones, which everyone loved. And then, of course, on the Mackel side, my late grandfather, Joseph Mackel. So, God rest all their souls. And for me, I've been in Saginaw, Michigan, 41 years of my life, born here, raised our family here. And now, in these days, just trying to give back as much as I can as possible. Extremely blessed in business. Over the course of the last 20 years, we've really dove in and made a really big difference, brought a sense of professionalism to the car industry and integrity, morale, and really, just look forward to being the good guys in the business and continue to help clients throughout the Great Lakes Bay region.
Well, I want to ask Chad to tell us a little bit about Labadie Buick GMC in Bay City. It's a great dealership. It's right on Euclid there. And, what's one of the first big businesses I see when you get off the highway and you head to downtown Bay City. So, Chad, can you tell us a little bit about Labadie Buick GMC?
Yeah. Mark Labadie is the third generation of owners with Labadie. It's been part of his grandfathers and fathers before him, and they do a great job in our community, and we're just all about wanting to serve our community and branch out to other businesses here in the Tri-Cities and making our dealership grow. We got 2 dealerships. We got a GMC Cadillac store, and we also have a Toyota store, and they're right on Euclid as well. And it's really, really great to be part of a family-owned organization, and they're not big like some of the other dealerships in the area. They're all corporate, and it makes a totally different vibe for our customers and our employees to actually work in a facility that's not corporate. And when you work in a corporate store, it feels differently. You feel like part of a family here, and we really try to do our best to take care of our employees and our customers.
Yeah, you really do feel a different vibe there at Labadie. And as the new and pre-owned vehicle manager, what exactly does your job consist of? Because I know you're like one of the big head honchos there now, right?
Yeah. Besides managing the staff and making sure we provide quality products to our customers, I'm a pretty busy guy. But what's fun about the job is taking care of our customers and taking care of our employees. And I manage over probably 50 people. And it's great to watch our employees grow and give them the tools to be successful. And our customers, we want to make sure that customers have a good experience with us. So there's a lot there to be said and a lot there to be worked on. And that's where Elvis comes into the play for us.
Yeah, and we do have a shining star with Elvis, and we've seen this. I know that I've known Elvis for a good almost 20 years at least, dating way back to some of the other car dealerships that you've worked for, as well as Dow Chemical at one time. I remember, and as part of the Hispanic Leadership Institute ambassadors. Tell me a little bit about that trajectory, Elvis, and what led you to a career in the auto industry.
Well, when I went, right, as far as, wow, that goes back to 2006. So I've always loved to talk to people. Dating back further than that, I used to do promotions. So promotions and bring artists to Bay City, Saginaw, Flint, and also to Traverse City. And we used to bring them and do our own promotional shows. And then really, getting out and dealing with the public and really had that, wanted to talk to people, want to help people, love that as far as to be able to do that. And then went to a dealership in 2006, loved it, thrived, all the way into 2010-ish to when I got the opportunity with Dow Chemical and United Way as the corporate volunteer manager. And that kind of went into where you and Monica Reyes with the Great Lakes Bay Leadership Institute really opened the doors to so many other different things that I didn't think about from a corporate standpoint and also in the auto industry. And then how do you at that time I was going for my bachelor's from Northwood University and doing the leadership group and meeting so many different leaders like Jimmy Green and Monica and you and all Gilbert Guevara and Bobby DeLeon and challenging me as the next gen to be better and give back to the community. It really started having me thinking about like the auto industry from a small business standpoint. And we've been working ever since.
Well, I think our time was well spent.
Yeah, absolutely.
But Chad, I've got a question for you. What made you hire Elvis Mackel, and how far back does your friendship with him go?
Well, like I said before, we have some opportunity to want to branch out into our Tri-City areas, Midland, Saginaw, Bay City, and we really needed somebody that really wanted to be in the community. My relationship with working with Elvis has been 11 years. When he was working at the flagship store in Saginaw, him and um, I kind of took him underneath my wing and taught him everything that I knew. I've been doing this business for almost 30 years, and it's 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 really fun to watch people thrive and grow. But and able to have the relationship where somebody understands what you're trying to portray to somebody and teach them the ethical and right ways of doing business in our business. And him and I hit it off, and it was fun. That's rewarding to watch people learn and be able to grasp what you're trying to teach them.
Yeah, it's not easy. The times I have gone where I have been in Elvis's offices or just watch you guys work at those computers, I'm like blown away, to tell you the truth. I'm like,
It's a lot.
wow, it's not something that's just somebody goes in there, buys a car. I mean, there's so much more involved, right? And it's really a blessing to see, when like you have Joe Cavazos, who's now kind of under Alvis's wing, if you will, there at Labadee, to see young men and women who are learning the business as well. Because sometimes, salespeople in auto industries, they get a bad rap. We all know that. But like you mentioned, Chad, about ethical, teaching that to Alvis or anybody else that's under your wing, I mean, it really is important. It makes a big difference. So thank you for that. And Alvis, I just want to ask you, because I know that's one of the questions that I've gotten a lot in the community is, how or why did Elvis all of a sudden move to Labadee? And this was just recent, and that's why we're doing this show to talk about that a little bit.
You mean the question? Oh my goodness, Elvis was doing all these great things, and he put the dealership on the map on Bay Road that nobody knew, 9 or 10 months ago. And we worked extremely hard, and I worked with some great people on Bay Road, managers all the way down from sales staff that were truly professional. And oh my goodness, I can't believe like he left Saginaw and now he's so far away in Bay City, and something must have happened, right? Something happened that had to happen negative. Well, absolutely not. The thing is in this now, right? The time, and we've talked about it for hours at length. The time really was now for me, right? For growth. Me and Chad been talking for probably the last, even when I was on State Street, we had been talking for like the last 3 years, potential opportunities, but it just wasn't the right time. The opportunity wasn't there. No one knew what community engagement was. There wasn't a position for community engagement manager. No one knew what that was, right? It was just finance manager or business manager. So we were able to show that and demonstrate that over the last 9 months, and that created an opportunity. So if you really look at that and say, okay, the opportunity wasn't there 9 months ago. It wasn't there 3 years ago. The opportunity came about because of all the hard work that we put in over the last 9 months. And then an opportunity arose that really sparked our interest. And who better yet? I want to step back. And in 2012, I graduated with my master's degree. And like young Joe Cavasso sitting here next to me, um, I left Dow Chemical, and everybody thought I was crazy. You're leaving Dow Chemical, and you got a master's degree, and you're going to sell cars and be a special finance manager. You must be crazy. And it's kind of like Robbie D's post today. They thought he was crazy because he was leaving the plant making $33 an hour, but he bet it all on himself because he believed in himself, and now he's got his own restaurant. It's paying off. So long story short, Chad sent me to business school in 2012, Resource Automotive, and it was in Chicago, and it was 5 days. And he believed in me. Juan Bush, got to say, believed in me as well. And with Chad, then took me under his wing and showed me all the different ways of what I could explore into. And at that time, right, I was one of the only Hispanics in the room. I was trying to make my way and trying to figure it all out. And we're in boardrooms now where I'm only Hispanic in the room. And Chad really took to me, right? He really showed me the ropes. He didn't hold back, right? He didn't hide anything. He was an open book of showing me what I could do and the potential. And then when it came, me and Chad were in a GM, so the next GM training class, and we traveled to New York and we traveled to Florida and Delray and all over the country. And it really had, time to throw things off of Chad, and we challenged each other because he's really, really good at what he does. And we get it. Like, we can finish each other's sentences. So then he moved over into a used car role and I moved into his role. And there never was a time where, we set a lot of records together. And what the public didn't see or didn't know is, like, me and Chad been together 9 years and setting records together before he went off on his, career path, and I went off on my career path. And when I got the call, and we talked about it, probably for weeks, because it was a huge decision. But with Elvis Jr. being off at Saginaw Valley and my daughter being out the house, and when is there a better time for Elvis Mackle to go and push himself to the next level, push himself to grow, push himself to learn the new car and used car from, again, Chad Forrester, which I believe and I highly respect as a leader that will hold nothing from me and develop and grow me. So in the event that down the road there's ever opportunity to potentially run my own dealership, I know how to do that and be effective at doing that without just having the finance role, because I was always missing, how to promote, recruit, train. And that's exactly what Chad does. He recruits, he trains, and he grows people. So I'm excited. I've learned a lot actually just in the last 3 weeks. And I am happy, extremely happy. I'm only 16 miles away, so it's not like I'm an hour away. I'm only 16 miles away, and Saginaw is coming up, and we're helping them out, and we've been extremely engaged in the community. I can't be happier enough.
With all that said, Chad, let me ask you, what do you feel are Labady's assets now with Elvis on board?
Well, it's all about the community. And, since Mark bought out his father from this store about 2 years ago, we wanted to branch out and get into, the backyard of our stores, and not just be in the retail market. We need to show the community that we got them, and we're trying to support the communities around us, the Bay region, and we finally got we believe we have the right candidate in that chair to grow it. And not only just the dealership aspect for me to teach him the different things that he hasn't really experienced yet, which is one of the big, opportunities for Elvis for coming on board, that I'm going to give it to him, and we're going to grow him in a different direction that he wants to. And that's what we're supposed to do. I believe it's not you, it's your people. And Elvis is going to be that asset for our ambassador for our communities. And that's really what it's all about. And getting ready for him to be able to take the next role in our dealerships, and where we end up going. And he's a great asset to us, and we're excited to have him.
I think you've got a whole community rooting for you guys over there in Bay City, and it's really nice to see the billboards that I've seen as of late, where you have Elvis and yourself, Chad, up on the billboards representing Labadie in Saginaw.
Right.
And that's one of the first times I've actually seen that. And I've seen it over on Bay Road. I've seen it over on State Street. Elvis is showing the pictures there, and man, that photographer, he did a really nice job.
Real nice.
It's really important that we target Elvis's backyard. We're supporting him and his community and his endeavors that he's been doing there for the last 15 years, and we support him 100%.
Well, I think he made a good splash over at the Union Civica with the sponsorship of the Queen's Dance. We're happy to have Elvis, as well as Joe Cavazos, one of the sales reps there. They were in attendance and taking pictures. and really showed themselves to the community with not only themselves but the banner for Labadee in the hall. So it really makes sense, and I think that as community engagement manager, Elvis has now got a lot of experience under his belt in marketing, and I think that's really important. It's really important to market whatever business you're in, and I think he's come a long way. And I'm glad that Mi Gente has been a part of it. We've been a
Absolutely.
part of it for years, dating back, to 2 or 3 car dealerships in the past, and it's always been a good feel because Elvis and I, we bounce things off each other. We talk. We try to, really make what's best for him in his position, and to, put his face out there in the community. And I think that it's worked. It's really worked. And as community engagement manager, what does that exactly mean, Elvis? What does that actually entail in this position?
For me, community engagement manager, right? It's a something where we're blazing the path of what that may be defined as. So as a community engagement manager, I want to be engaged in the community. I want to be accessible to the community. I want to listen to the needs of the community and be able to help out. And it's something that's not always most most auto companies or most companies normally have a designated person for that because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work outside of your general schedule, and as you said, with our schedules, it's very, very hectic because when we're at work, it's all in emails, calls, banks, this, that, clients. It's nonstop. So community engagement to me is being out in the community, listening to my community, the Great Lakes Bay region. As of the last 5-10 years, the last decade has been Saginaw. And how can I help? How can I add value? How can I help the next generation to give them and show them, if you believe in yourself, that you can achieve a greater result? How do I, those next leaders that are graduating from Northwood or SVSU, and they graduate these leadership groups and they say, I got this, graduation certificate. How do they now take that and say, you know what, let me grow a 501c3. Let me grow my ideas. Let me bounce them off the leaders of the next gen or the mentors. How do I develop? How do I grow? And the time is now. We belong at the table. I've truly said that for the last decade. I want to have an input on the table. And I also want to be able to see our people grow. And I think that's the biggest thing now in this next phase of even me. I'm growing every day and trying to push myself to the next, but be able to grow the community. And I love, and I've honed that into children, because children are so innocent. And if we can give them the tools and then also show them success stories, are they more apt in our community to be successful? And I say yes. And if I got to sacrifice a bunch of my time, I'm all in. And then have the resources. I've been extremely blessed to have resources. Chad and the Labadee Group is behind me. We have so many community organization 501c3s that are behind us. And we really have the tools to be able to do all the amazing things that we do. And that's kind of, bleeds into Christmas for Angels too. It's a blessing.
Well, Chad, I know you're busy. You're there still so late in the office. Final question for you. I just want to know, have you noticed a change there at Labadee with the presence of Elvis Mackel?
It's a culture. It's rebuilding a culture that has never really been in our store for his role with us. And yeah, I mean, you can feel the energy. You want a good culture around your people, and Elvis does a great job with that with our team. It's you walk into one of these roles and you just turn the light switch on and say, hey, I'm your next leader, follow me. It takes some time for everybody to adapt and believe in what we're doing as a management staff to bring somebody like Elvis into our store and just let them loose and get the respect of the team, his peers. And in the last 3-4 weeks, it's been wonderful to watch because it's exciting. There's a lot of different exciting things that we're doing that we never did before. And to answer your question, yeah, it's you can feel it, you can see it, and it's fun. It's a fun transition.
Well, you
But I
know,
have fun a little bit.
there's also taco
Yeah.
trucks that I noticed when
Yeah.
I've been over there
Yeah.
out front. So, well, thank you for joining us tonight, Chad Forcer. We appreciate your time, and we're going to let you go so you can do what you do there best. And we're going to go into commercial. We're going to come right back with Alvis Mackel and talk more a little bit about Labadee and Christmas with Angels.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
So we're live back here on Facebook, and thank you, everybody. I know it was kind of a rough start with this show. I was stumbling into it. I hadn't been back here in a few weeks, and I had to give a mention of my cousin Stevie Medalchuk. And you know, I'm here with a heavy heart, but we have to go on. Life is difficult, and today was one of those days, very difficult. So we're gonna go back and talk a little bit more with Elvis and the big impact that he's making as community engagement manager and business manager at Labadee Buick GMC.
This is Gente on Air on WSGW.
Welcome back, mi gente. Thank you for being with me here tonight as we talk about Latino contributions, Latino concerns, and Latino culture. And tonight I've got somebody who's involved heavily within the Hispanic community as well as the general community, and he's working as the business manager and the community engagement manager over at Labadee GMC, Labadee Buick GMC. So tell me, Alvis Mackel, he's back here with me. You know, how have you got involved in something so massive as Christmas with Angels?
How did I get involved with it?
Yeah, tell me the story. How? I mean, because you know, it's been 6 years now, right? And it's really taken off. I think in a way this year that it may not have taken off in the past years. Tell me a little bit about how it actually started.
So Christmas with Angels started off with we walked, we were going over to a client's potential home, and when we walked in that home, and I'll just kind of describe it in brief, there was the parents, there was the mom and the dad that opened up the door, and there was this little girl. So we walked in the apartment, and as we were walking through, about to do the paperwork on a vehicle, there was nowhere to do the paperwork on. You know, you walked, and I just visually want you to visualize this. You're walking through this narrow hallway, and then you had the living room to the right. You had the kitchen to the left. The kitchen didn't have anything. There was no table. There was a box spring in the living room, and that was it. There was no TV. Looking at, you know, the little girl and further, you could kind of see like her, you know, her jeans were kind of hiked up. Her outfit was really small, and the wife was pregnant again, and that kind of, you know, it was right around holiday season time, and Amanda Bowl was working with us then, and she really engaged me in the community, and the Gil Guevara and Bobby De Leon and yourself kind of ran some ideas past and said, you know, there's a lot of children that are, you know, don't have the gift of Christmas to children in need. And it's like, wow, you know, you start thinking about that, and like the kid coming down the steps and not having a Christmas tree or not having a gift. Like, wow, a kid going to school the next day, you know, after break, and everybody's talking, and everybody's so excited about, you know, having these Christmas gifts and what they got. And, you know, that kid's over there sitting embarrassed or maybe lying, as Jimmy Green said at our sponsorship function on Saturday, you know, not being able to have a gift. You know, they don't know what that is, but, maybe life happened to the mom and dad, and where something came up to where they kept the lights on and they kept the water on it, and they just couldn't afford Christmas. So what we did, we came together as a community. We rallied. We had a goal of 3,000, raising $3,000 to help 10 families. We shattered that goal and raised 10,000 that first year, and we helped 25 families. Year to date, we've helped 684 children right here in the Great Lakes Bay region. It is one of the premier give back groups, and it's something we hold near and dear to our hearts. Right now, you can currently get an application on Christmas with Angels on our Facebook page. It goes on to the end of the month. It is now until November 30th. We also got shirts. So, Christmas Angels is now, a huge part of our community, and it's brought together, a committee of volunteers, right? Nobody gets paid for this. Something that we pride ourselves on is 100% of your donations go 100% to the children. So if we raise, our goal this year is to raise $15,000 to help 30 families. Well, the cost of gifts are up. And if we go over 15,000, well, we're going to support more families. Last year, we raised almost $19,000 and we helped 52 families. And you times that by the children and know that it's because your efforts and our group's efforts. And I can't say enough, our group of community support, our group of community leaders that came together for one cause, and that's to bring the gift of Christmas to children in need. It's something special. It's something that's near and dear to all of our hearts. To see those children on December 17th at La Union Civica Mexicana open and experience the gift of Christmas with Santa Claus is something special. I welcome anybody that wants to be changed and wants to be blessed. Please come to La Union Civica Mexicana from 12:30 to 6 p.m. We look to share the good news and support more than 30 families this year.
Well, it's really a blessing to be involved with Christmas with Angels, because as many of us know, there is such a need in our community. And I know that this year we've had more applications than ever. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, this year I can tell you a lot about it. My phone's constantly dinging. We went online. So normally, historically, you'd always pick up the application from either the dealership that I'm at or the Mexican American Council. Well, this year we launched, to kind of make it easier, on our Christmas with Angels Facebook page, a link that you could actually go and type in your application. Well, every time you put an application in, my phone dings. Every time you ask a question, my phone dings. So, and that's about 4 or 5 of us leaders. Well, soon as we went live, I mean, we're probably 50 dings, 60 dings, 70 dings a day. And we're over 146 applications, which means there's a greater need than ever. Because if we only select 30 families, and if you do the math, that's a fourth, right? And how hard is it going to be for all of us committee members? Because we look at every application. I want to say this to the applicants. If you're filling the application out, please tell us what is the need. And because we read every single one. And December 6th, when we come together to vote on those applications, that's one of the hardest days, because we have to select and do a very tough job of, we always put, the 30 or 40, and then we have a what if pile and a maybe pile, because we're always anticipating we go over the goal, because we know our hearts are in the right place and we're giving back to the children. So to answer your question, yes, the need has never been greater. We've had 16.9 thousand views on our Facebook page in the last 3 weeks, and we've never came close to those numbers.
Right. And it's like he alluded that the selection process is very difficult. It's going to be very difficult this year.
Yeah.
And what happens once a family is selected, then the Angels, Christmas with Angels, they take families out to Walmart and they personally take them to spend the money that is allotted to each of the families that are selected. And they're the gifts for they're for the children. The money can't be spent for anything else but for a children's gift. And those gifts cannot be anything electronic or something that is going to take up most of the money all at once. We want to be able to, spread the gift that we're giving. And I think that with inflation and the economy now, I think that we're probably, as an organization, going to have to give more to each individual child. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, absolutely. You're seeing it on the news. I was just watching the butter's up 27%, right? Head of lettuce is up 24%. Everything is up. You gas and inflation. You're looking at anywhere from, a child's gift might be up $5. So that's that's okay if you're only buying a few, but right, we're buying, maybe X amount of gifts. So it might be 200 or 300 or $400, then you divide that by the amount of children, and everything's up. So we're trying to raise, every dollar is going to be critical this year. We can't say enough to our partners. As much as we raise, we're going to give out, and we're going to do our darnest. It's not just a give out. Christmas for Angels, for anybody that's new and doesn't know what we do, we don't just hand out a gift card. We actually, all of us volunteers, take the selected families over to a location, as far as the Walmart that we partner with for the last 5 years, and we take them all shopping. Then we take all the gifts back to La Union Civica, which are labeled with their kids' names and their family names. And we have a big wrapping party on December 16th from 5 p.m. until the last gift is wrapped. Why do we do that? To make sure the kids get the gifts. So we ensure that. It's a lot more work, absolutely, but we ensure the kids get the gifts. Clucks has been a partner since day one. We'll have 2 Christmas trees, and I can't tell you, but Santa did tell me last week he plans to be in attendance, which is always exciting to have him come through. And Alberto Jimenez, and Miss Sosa did an awesome job with Candyland last year. So, and then we do an amazing meal. The Civica All-Stars provided an amazing meal. TNT has had an amazing meal for the family. So it's 2 days, December 16th, December 17th, we'll be at La Union Civica Mexicana if you want to come out and volunteer.
Yeah, and it's really a beautiful effort, and to see the smiling faces of children opening up gifts. And sometimes, we don't know anybody's real situation unless you're wearing their shoes. But for the most part, I think that we're enhancing that time period with their families, and the time of remembering Christmas past for them when they are older. And we've had people who have come and offered services out of Christmas with Angels. I know even the Civica, we've had fathers who, I remember, offered to put a new roof on the Civica because we helped, Christmas with Angels helped his children to have a great Christmas. And so it's really a community effort, and the volunteers that we've had through the years, have been really a blessing to the community. What motivates you, Elvis? What motivates you, to be involved with Christmas with Angels, but also with the community engagement at Labadee?
I mean, with me, I just want to be the best. I want to be the best leader, the best person I can be, right? And I don't really have any competition in that space. My competition is me. And I say that very humbly. God gave me the ability to lead and be able to challenge myself every day. When I wake up at 5:30 or 5 a.m., to if it's a 12-hour day, 15-hour day, 16-hour day, 18-hour day, it's to make every single day, count. And, I want to make sure that tomorrow's not promised. I want to actually take the time right now and say rest in peace, Chuck Medell, and many prayers to the Medell family. I know it's a very hard day for you. And I hate to see, young, talented, as far as, Hispanics, but then, young, talented, leaders of tomorrow, because truly, my mother passed away at the age of 46, 2001, February 13, 2001, I was 21 years old. And I really vowed at that point where to never take a day for granted. So when I'm looking at that, and to be able to understand, like, me and community engagement is, I want to give all of me, give all of myself, and know that if I touch a community event, I'll make it better. I'll add value. I know that I can come in with different ideas and have the resources because I got great leaders around me, and I can bounce those off of leaders, and they're going to steer me in the right direction, and we can make a positive impact. And I, sometimes don't know how to say no. But you have these the ability to give back. And when I'm gone from this space, or Joe takes my spot, or whomever takes my spot, you know, being around Jimmy Green and know that I gave it my all, and my children look at me and know that I gave it my all every day. And that's right now in that space with Labadie. I went there to learn. And if you heard what Chad Forrester said right when he got off, I want to just touch on that, because that key sentence that he said before he got off, you heard him say, I wanted him to come here and I let him loose. I let him do his thing. Many might have missed that. I sure didn't. I didn't miss that, because sometimes I'm a lot. I come with a lot of ideas. I come with a lot of energy. I come with, wanting to always do things right. I want to do things at a higher level. I want to give 115%. But knowing I'm the community engagement manager, I'm the finance manager for new and used, and I'm also the assistant used car manager, learning that role too. So pushing in every which angle, it's tough. It's a task, but Chad has gave me the ability to reach for the stars, and that's really where I want to be. I want to learn from leaders that don't want to put me in a box, that don't want me to just learn this, that don't fear me, that don't want to, potentially hold me down at a point. I want to be with leaders that want to grow me to the next level, because then you start talking about, Larry, generational wealth. You start talking about the Garbers, right? Third generation. Labadie, third generation. You start talking about Sarah, third generation. Well, let's talk about that. Where's our third generation? Can I be the first generation? If we have the wit and we have the ability, or are we comfortable with making X amount of dollars and comfortable with just being the status quo, or comfortable with just being good? Well, I don't want that. So a lot of times I'm going to make decisions where the public may not understand, but it's in the best interest of them. And I can tell you this, public, every single one of my last contracts has stated right in them that community engagement is at the forefront. We're going to be engaged. We're going to help as far as 501c3s and also community efforts. And it's very, very important. So I know I'm in Bay City, but I'm only 15 minutes away. Saginaw, I know you're seeing, we're sponsoring more than ever. We're going to be the face of Saginaw when it comes to community engagement. I look forward to making a difference.
Well, many times on this show, I have talked about how I've seen a difference within the awareness or the heightening of the Latino culture in Michigan, as well as in Saginaw. And, Atlas and I have talked about, this is the time. This is really, Latinos in our country have come a long way. We've got a long way to go, yes. But, there's really an awareness. There's the love for our food. There's the love for our ballet folklorico and our dancing. And it's just a different time from, say, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. And I think you're at that forefront, Elvis. You're bringing, the taco trucks to Labadie, which I don't know if they've ever, that hasn't been a thing within the auto industry, but it makes it possible to bring that awareness to who you are, what you're doing at these dealerships, right? I mean, do you see, within yourself, say, a difference from 5 years ago, from 10 years ago, in terms of the auto industry?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, heck, Larry, the Civic All-Stars and what we just did with Taco Fest, within a month, 4 weeks, we had 3,000 people come out to a Taco Fest. We always have these talks, right? That as far as the Latino vote right now, look what just happened in all the elections, right? If you turn on MSNBC, CNN, Fox News, whatever it was Latino vote. The Latino vote could swing this state. They could swing this state. It could swing this state. We've never heard that be so important and having us at the table. Well, my thing is okay, are we at the table? And then do we have a voice at the table? And if we're going to have a voice at the table, do we add value in that conversation? Can we make effective changes? Can we make and better ourselves, not selfishly for ourselves? Where, Joe, I'm looking directly at you, right? You just graduated from Northwood. my whole job is not to grow me, is to grow you and then be able to help even the next generation. And when you start seeing, yes, it's a different change. It's a different climate in the last 5-10 years. They're listening more. We said this a couple days ago. We're at La Union Civica Mexicana for a Queen's dance. Labadee Buick Cadillac GMC in Bay City sponsored a Latino Queen's dance on Wadsworth and Saginaw, Michigan. And if that don't make you smile and tell you we came a long way, that should make you smile and say, we're coming. We're going to continue to not only do it on Wadsworth, but on Genesee, on Michigan, on State Street, on Bay Road, and Freeland, and Kochville, and wherever it may be. We're not going to rest. We're going to work our butts off to make sure that we're adding value in the community.
It's I'm old enough to know, and I say this too much on this program, but I'm old enough to know that there was a term that you heard a lot, say 20 years ago. I remember in the 80s and the 90s, where they talked about the sleeping giant, that the sleeping giant had awakened. Now I think the sleeping giant has stood up from that slumber and has been awakened and stood up, and he's moving. And I think, really that tells me where we're going, and it's forward. And we have a saying, adelante. It's something that is meaningful to me because I see so many young entrepreneurs today. I see so many people opening up restaurants from my community, or I see them just engage more in a positive way to try to, really, make an awareness of themselves, and their families and their community. So, now is the time. You're right. And we have a comment here from one of the listeners, Gloria French. She's out in Arizona. She says, "It was your season to shine. And just as you said it, it was the time to move."
Absolutely.
So thank you for that comment, Gloria, in
you.
Arizona. Angela Blanco, she says, "Keep going strong, Elvis Macco. We are proud of all that you are doing and what's next for you and the Labadee team. Bring the crew to the Tamale Taste-Off. You all are now part of the Union Civica family. Thank you, si se puede."
Thank you.
And Juan Felipe Delgado, he says, "Awesome event." And, he's also saying proud of Elvis. So I
love you, man.
We definitely, are seeing a change. Something has awakened our community like never before. And, I just really think the awareness of who we are, what we can bring to the table, having that voice at the table is making a huge difference. Now is the time. And so, if anybody, is out there and just is sometimes there's negativity or what they call haters out in the community or all, let's put that energy, in a positive way that moves our community forward. And we have to mention even, Priscilla Garcia, just was elected to the Saginaw City Council, first Latina.
Priscilla.
And I hope that she'll be on the show too. And we can talk a little bit more and get to know her a little bit better. Because, these are the changes that are being made. Here we are, Saginaw was, founded in 1888. In 2022, we're just now getting a female city council member. But you know what? Things are really changing because now on the city council, the mayor and the pro tem mayor are female, and that's never happened before. So things are changing for the better. And I hope that as we move forward, that we also remember where we've been, and that's really important as well. So Elvis, we have 2 minutes. Can we introduce Joe Cavazos to the show? Because Joe Cavazos is a sales rep over at Labadee, and he's under the wing of Elvis. And you were talking and referring to him, but we forgot to really introduce him. So, Joe, please come into the picture here.
Come on in.
Can you see me?
Joe comes from the Urives family. Rachel is his aunt, Hino Urives. He comes from a big family here in Saginaw, and he's doing great things. He's doing great things over at Labadee. Joe, do you want to say a few words?
Yeah, I just want to say thanks for having me on, Larry. Elvis, you know, he brought me on, challenges me every day. Even with this here, you know, this is something that's new to me. Kind of everything I'm doing right now. I just graduated from Northwood, having a mentor, like I said, like Elvis, being able to come on to something like this and just watch you guys work, see the way you guys move, and the way you're making an impact. I just want to say thank you for all that.
Oh, nicely said. Thank you so much. Thank you. And thank you, Elvis Macco, for doing what you're doing in the community. It's so important that we move forward and that you mentor young men like Joe and women. You're making that example. You're being that example. And like I've said, socially, I'm very proud of you. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
And any last words, Elvis? You got 30 seconds.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Yes, absolutely. So 30 seconds. 30 seconds. 30 seconds. I just want to say, everybody, tomorrow is not promised, right? I will do anything. If you need help, it's not even about selling a vehicle. If you need help learning your FICO score, if you need help with interest rates, if you need help with just talking about your personal finances or whatever you may have that you may need help with, you have a friend at Labadee, come see us. We'd love to be able to help. God bless you and love all. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next week here on Mi Gente on Air. So there you go, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. We had a number of people in the room tonight and some good comments. Thank you so much for that feedback. It's important because, as you know, this is a show for the community, and we're going to move that pendulum more and more as we go on with people like Alvis and people like Joe Cavazos here. And I just want to say thank you to Chad Forster for being with us on the show as well as a new and used car manager. And thank you for giving the opportunity to not only Elvis Macco, but our community at large. So thank you so much, and we'll see you all again next week. Hasta luego.